So here we are at Oklahoma National Stockyards. It is the largest stocker feeder cattle auction in the world. This was actually here before Oklahoma City was actually a city. This is kind of what formed the city, if you will. There was kind of a tent city that formed around the auction because different cattle sellers and cattle buyers would come from surrounding states, drive their cattle to here, and then auction them off or buy them at auction and then transport them back out. So directly behind me, this is where the trucks would come in and unload. Right now, it's actually pretty quiet. They back into here, which are all chutes loaded up, and they unload their trailers in those chutes. If you've got a smaller trailer, you would use these chutes right here. These chutes, you can pull your pickup or your trailer all the way in, and then the gates can close behind you as you load and unload your cattle. Over here, we see there's a couple more chutes that you can back a semi-trailer up to load and unload. Now, to get into the auction, you actually go up on this skyway right here. So we're going to head on up and see what's going on today at auction.
How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Great day.
So here we met Ray from Ireland.
Correct.
He's came all the way from Ireland just to see the Oklahoma City National Stockyards.
And that's my son down there.
And down here, we see his son. What's your son's name?
Jake.
Jake. So Jake and Ray came for a trip.
Yeah.
How fun to run into you guys.
And we had a big breakfast, so we missed the auction.
Yes, today the auction is actually a really low head count, which is unusual. I think you said it was about 2,000 today?
2,000 they said in the office,
So they started early and they were done by noon. That's a very rare day here at Oklahoma City National Stockyards. So as we were just saying, the auction is really light today, which is very, very bizarre. But we're on top of the catwalk, and from the catwalk you can look out over the pens and see all the cattle that are here. And normally there's men on horses running in these alleyways with their horses, moving the cattle into the auction house and then back out of the auction house into pens. Now, you can't smell it on camera, but there is a very distinct aroma here in stockyards all the time, which is often referred to as the smell of money. But if you look down at these cattle that are sitting here right now, and that muddish looking area that they're in, which is, yes, partially mud and partially what comes out of a cow, that is the aroma that it is. That's the smell of money. Now, the way this works, when a farmer drops off his cattle, he can choose whether or not his cattle are fed while they're here in the pen. And that silver box has feed, which will then release feed for the cattle to eat. And then every pen has a water trough, so the cattle always have something to drink while they're here. So as you can tell, it's a pretty long walk on the catwalk to get into the auction house. But here's where we turn to go to the auction house. Now, the cattle coming in for auction will come down this pathway here into what is now that closed garage door. Just inside that garage door is a large scale, and all the cattle are on that scale, so they get a weight of all the cattle that are coming in on that particular auction block. Then on the screens inside, it'll show you what the total weight is, how many head or how many cattle are in that block, and an average weight then per cattle, per cow that is in that auction block. Then the price you would see will be a price per hundredweight. So that means if it says $100, that is $100 per every 100 pounds of cattle that are in that block. Then in here is where the auction happens. So these seats are typically full. And what happens is in here on the left is where the cows will enter the arena. The cows will come on in. They'll be here for a minute while the auctioneer starts the auction. Standing in the middle there, behind that black barrier, is the commissioner for that block of cattle, who will announce any specific details like shots or age or any pertinent information about the block of cattle going up for sale. Once they are ready, they will then send the cattle out the right-hand side. From there, the auctioning will continue until a final bid is announced. Then it starts all over. A new batch of cattle will come in this gate right here. They'll come in here, any pertinent information will be explained, and then they'll go out that door on the right-hand side. And this will go on until all the cattle for the day are sold. They start as early as 6 a.m. selling cattle, and they will run until they are all sold. I've been here at 5 a.m. and they are still selling cattle from the previous day. Once all the cattle are sold, the auction is over then for that day. Today, there were very few cattle, so the auction was over pretty early. It's very rare to see the auction over this early, but we got a good view of what the auction looks like and how it works. Let me know what you think of the Oklahoma City National Stockyards, and let me know what you think of the cattle auction. I look forward to seeing you on our next adventure.